And welcome back to more Pikmin! So last time, we continued to explore the distant spring, so this time we're headed back there one last time to collect the remaining ship parts there. There are only 3 more ship parts in the region, so we should have plenty of time to get all 3 today. First of all, I want to take out 100 blue Pikmin, and I'm pretty sure not all of them are going to be flower Pikmin, so let's actually search for some nectar first of all. This isn't super necessary since most are flower Pikmin, but it might speed things up a little bit at least. And with what appears to be a full group of flower Pikmin, let's make our way over here. So we have 2 bridges and a yellow Wollywog. My goal for today is to not have to fight any of the Wollywogs and just try to lure them out of the way. So this one we can kind of draw over here, and if it's far enough away from the bridges, it should leave the Pikmin alone. I really don't like fighting Wollywogs in this game particularly. In the sequels they make it a little bit easier, but you don't really have a great way to fight them without losing a bunch of Pikmin. Basically the best methods are tied to different Pikmin that aren't even introduced yet. So over here we have more Shearwigs to deal with. One's luckily flying into the water. The Pikmin that are carrying our spoils seem to be milling about in one place with their loads. It appears that their path back to the Onion is blocked, and faced with what seems to be an insurmountable obstacle, they have lost their focus. This is unacceptable. I will have to determine what is blocking their way and do what I can to resolve the problem. I'll be honest, this is kind of silly, because in this specific instance, there is plenty of room for them to carry everything past the bridges through the water, and yet they won't because their AI is programmed to go across the bridges. It's really weird. Again, it's just one of those quirks with this particular game. I do feel like it's a little bit better in the sequels, but yeah, this one definitely has some weird quirks to it. So let's get to work on this. There is actually a way to collect this part over here, by the way. Let's see what this is. I found the gluon drive. Using the quark-binding metaphysical properties of gluons, this device, well, it's very scientific and I don't fully understand it myself, but it was very expensive. We can actually collect this without building the bridge, using these Shearwigs. So if you manage to place it down about here, and then have the Pikmin walk in circles with the Shearwigs, it is actually possible to push the gluon drive into the water and then carry it without having to build the bridges. I think this is how it's done in the speedruns, because it does save a lot of time, but I'm not exactly sure how to pull off this trick, so I'm just going to collect it the intended way. Well, sort of intended way, because I will be doing one thing that's probably not intended. But while we're waiting on this, there are 2 things I wanted to mention. Last time I talked a little bit about the dwarf bulbears, and how they appear in the distant spring after a certain amount of days. One thing I actually forgot to mention is that the dwarf bulbears are actually related to bulbears. Unlike the dwarf bulborbs, which are related to bread bugs, I'm pretty sure they're fought basically the same way, so I'm not entirely sure why the game felt the need to make this distinction in its lore, but it is kind of a nice touch to have a detailed lore for the different types of life forms in this game. But yeah, I thought that was worth pointing out. And also, one other really cool change in the Wii version that I only realized recently was they actually fixed a text glitch. So I realized that we had only seen the dialogue that pops up when 100 Pikmin are on the field and you try to raise more Pikmin. We've only seen that dialogue once. By the way, first of all, I want to wake up this Bulbear and then lure it to this back corner. If we press 2 and lie down, Olimar is invincible, and thus the Bulbear will be distracted enough to leave the Pikmin alone. As I was saying, on GameCube, the dialogue would repeat whenever you entered a new area and tried to raise more than 100 Pikmin on the field. In this game, it didn't happen, so I guess they fixed that on the Wii version specifically. Clue on Drive. I have no idea how this works, but it means the dolphin will again lift off with its characteristic roar. I have now recovered 27 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 2 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. Like, earlier in the playthrough, I do remember specifically putting Pikmin away before raising more to avoid that text box appearing, and I guess I didn't even have to do that. Good to know for the future. It's kind of weird that that problem is fixed, and yet so many other glitches in the original version are retained for the Wii version. It's kind of one of those really specific things that I'm surprised they caught that and not, say, the crushing glitch or the Cronus reactor clip, things like that. But in any case, let's make our way over here. So we took down one of the walls to get another ship part, but we left one intact because I did not want to attempt the bomb throw required to quickly tear it down. As is, we have to maneuver around a few more Wollywogs. So yet again, I want to draw this one as far away from the wall as I can, probably to about here. By the way, there's another part here, so we'll have to lure it back over in a bit. And then there's also this one. So this one has to move over here. If this one tries to attack us as well, it's not that big of a deal. So about there is good. That should definitely be far enough away that they will leave all the Pikmin alone. So we can build this, or tear down this wall in peace, and collect this part. So, I had to take down this wall because otherwise they would try to carry it through there and get stuck. And trying to carry the part through there just feels really scary because of having to fight 2 more enemies than going this way. So it is generally, in my opinion, a safer strategy to just cut through here instead, even though it probably takes a little bit longer. I'm pretty sure if the Pikmin want to carry it through that stone wall, it means this is probably a faster route, but this just feels a lot less precarious. But in any case, let's see what this is. It's my zirconium rotor. This is made from rust-proof zirconium, which is particularly suited to making spaceship parts. I had to pay a lot extra to have this installed, and I suspect the mechanic overcharged me. Today's the day of collecting things that Olimar paid a lot of money for, I guess. I do like all the flavor text in this game. I wasn't sure if I was going to show off all of it, but I ended up doing so anyway. We definitely had enough time to show everything off, thankfully. So with this Wollywog, we want it to come over here. That should be far enough away that when we get the final part, it shouldn't mess with the Pikmin at all. So let's cut through here. By the way, they will carry it through this little stretch, if I'm not mistaken. At last, my pilot seat. Once I get this installed, my cockpit will finally be back in order. Soon my ship will be starting to look more and more like the dolphin of old. Ah, the memories. So this takes, at most 45 Pikmin to carry, so we still have a little, group here. Not that we can do anything with 5 Pikmin today. But let's make our way back to the ship, just so we can be there when the final parts are returned. And yeah, it was nice not having to fight that many enemies here. I think in general the Distant Spring actually might be my favorite area in the entire game, for a few reasons. Zirconium Rotor. Made of rust-proof zirconium, it is as shiny as new, despite being left out in this planet's harsh elements. I've now covered 28 out of 30 parts. If I can find just one more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. But yeah, I like the visuals in this area. I think it's a really pretty place. The amount of water is nice. I feel like the challenge level is really good. Oddly enough, I think this is actually easier to get through than the Forest Naval, or even parts of the Forest of Hope, oddly enough. But it's just a very leisurely area. The music is really chill and relaxing. There are a lot of ship parts to get, but most aren't too demanding. Pilot seat. Picturing this in the cockpit, images of me lifting off into space begin to fill my taxed brain. It fills me with inspiration once again. I have now recovered 29 out of 30 parts, increasing the dolphin's capabilities. My search can now cover a wider area. So at this point, the dolphin is basically complete. Even visually, you can see that all the cracks are basically filled, except the bowsprit isn't properly fitted all the way. So yeah, it can fly at this point. So if you don't care about the best ending, hypothetically, you could just go to sunset for however many days are left, and then get the neutral ending. But yeah, we will be getting the final part, hopefully either today or tomorrow or the day after, and get the best ending. But as I was saying, I do find the Forest Naval to be the toughest area in the game because of having 2 boss battles, frankly, a lot of weird quirks to the region in general, specifically with the Puffstool, and also the Libra being so glitchy. Let's see. The graphics also, I feel like, are a little bit lacking in the Forest Naval. Like, the visual design is just kind of bleak. But the Forest of Hope is just a really good starting area, as is the impact site. And the Distant Spring is definitely the biggest area, and while I do feel like there is a lot of wasted space with all this water and patches of land here, I just really like the atmosphere. In general, I like Pikmin's atmosphere. It's kind of a nice little peaceful game, despite the strict time limit and the amount of dangerous life forms nearby. It's just kind of a nice little peaceful game to just kind of blast through really quickly, in my case at least. Again, I've been playing this game so long that I can easily finish the game in under 2 weeks consistently, even without some of the tricks I tried for the first time in this playthrough, like with the Snagrits and the blue Pikmin. So yeah, we're almost done with this playthrough, but our biggest challenge is yet to come, and we'll be taking a look at that starting tomorrow, because there's basically nothing else to do. Aside from raising more Pikmin, hypothetically, if you want a really good score on the leaderboards at the end of the game, you could go back to the impact site and just raise a ton of Pikmin. I suppose that could be a challenge run in its own right, basically collecting the required parts and then trying to see how many Pikmin you can raise by day 30, and then finishing the game. I don't know if I've actually ever done that. Normally I go for low day counts rather than Pikmin raised, which is why I ignored quite a few opportunities to raise more Pikmin, including that 10 pellet over here, which I still haven't picked up. But with that, I think it is almost time to say farewell to the Distant Spring. Also, by the way, to give a ranking, after the Distant Spring, I think my second favorite area is the Forest of Hope. It's also a very chill area beyond the burrowing snagrets and the cannon beetle, but for the most part, it's also fairly low-key. Then probably the impact site. I actually like the music in those two regions better. And then the Forest Naval's probably last, because I just find it the most bland visually, and also the most frustrating to get through without losing too many Pikmin. But with that being said, I think it's time to wrap up for the day. "11 days since impact. At last, but a single part remains. Since I've recovered 29 of the missing parts, the dolphin's power is near capacity. In the forest depths below, I see a region where the final part must lie. Clearly, this is my final trial. My life support fails in 19 days. Courage." I like how no matter how many days are left, he still makes it sound like he's very short on time. But yeah, we have 19 days to collect one part. I think we're fine. And with that, we are done in the distant spring and done with day 11. So when you unlock the final trial, there's also a meteor shower, a nice little visual detail to indicate that this is it, this is the final area in the game. There's only one ship part there, but it is very difficult to get, and we'll be saving that for next time. So next time, or how does my outro go? Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin.